Hello, welcome back to another video on my channel. This is now episode 3 of our budget EG build. The plan in today's episode is we're going to be basically fully stripping apart the EG here. So first things first, we got to pull it into the garage. We ended up scoring this thing for 1,500 bucks. The exact same price as our crash damage, not running one, and also a rolling body, rusty as shell. Drive this Civic all the way from Nelson to Picton, which is about a 2-hour drive. I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere, no reception, and the car has completely died on me. She's not starting, we couldn't get it started, so we're gonna tow it back to Picton. So far so good. Extremely long and stressful day. We finally got the EG towed onto the ferry. Let's see if our ignition coil or distributor off our other engine, if we can slap that on here and get this thing started. Ready to crank this thing over. Way! I'm so happy that we bought this thing. So now that you're fully up to speed on the story of this thing, let's see if she starts. Of course. And drive her into the garage. The car is an EG5, which means it came with D16 non-VTEC fuel injected, and this is the automatic version of the car. And basically tonight we're going to be working at trying to yank this thing out of here. I think last time I did this, it took me, 6 hours, but there was quite a bit of front damage. So that definitely slowed things up a lot. But yeah, let's see how fast we can pull this thing out. Time now is 6:33. So yeah, let's see how long this takes us. So obviously the first step in the whole thing is we've got to get the car jacked up. And then after that, you can see me just working around the engine and disconnecting everything that I can basically see on the top. The radiator, the intake piping, the wiring, the AC and power steering lines, all that good stuff. I then went ahead and removed both axles as well as drained all the gearbox fluid. And then I went ahead and removed the hood, as it just makes things a whole lot easier. So in this clip here you can see me trying to disconnect the gear shifter linkage. So first of all, we're obviously underneath the car here, and now we can work inside the car here and try disconnect it all. And then I'm pretty sure this is me disconnecting the exhaust here, but after we've done that we can roll it back a bit so we have enough room for the engine hoist. So here you can see we've got our cheap marketplace engine hoist attached to the engine, as well as this little cradle thingy. And then basically you just got to take out the engine mounts and then tilt it at an angle and then lift it up and out of the car. So just like that, the engine is now out of the EG. I think it took me about 2.5 hours. The time is now 9 o'clock. And I started wrenching, I think, at 6:30. But yeah, it went super quick, probably because I wasn't mucking around trying to film it all. And I just set you guys up on the time lapse. So I hope you enjoyed that. But yeah, as you can see, the engine bay is absolutely caked in dirt and dust. But surprisingly, not much oil. So this should be really, really satisfying to clean. And it looks like EGs from the factory actually have a clear coat on it, unlike ES, which is pretty cool. Then coming over to the engine here, you can see that the engine itself is also like extremely grimy, but there's actually not much oil leaks, which is really, really cool and very unlike a D series. But yeah, that's all for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to work on fully tidying up and detailing this engine bay, as well as fully tidying up the engine. And then we also got to fully strip down the interior too. So yeah, really looking forward to it. So as you can see, this is the motor we just pulled out of the car, and attached to it is an automatic transmission. So here I'm pulling that off, and I'm going to be swapping it with the manual transmission that we pulled out of our other car with the high kilometers engine. It's all a bit confusing, but you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm basically taking a low kilometers motor and swapping it with the manual trans so that we can change this EG from an automatic to a manual. Some of you may be wondering why I didn't just leave the engine in there and take the trans out, and that's because it's not too much more work to just pull the whole engine out, and in doing so we can then clean up the entire engine and stuff and the engine bay all outside the car, which makes it a lot easier. And on top of that, it's also super satisfying. So enjoy. I so wish I took some before photos of this transmission here, but it cleaned up so bloody nicely. The old pressure washer got rid of all that grime, and then on top of that, you'll see a bit later on, we give it a quick lick of paint too, and this thing looked brand new. So as you can see, we've made a crap ton of progress. So first of all, we cleaned up the bay, which you saw, and then we also swapped the transmissions over and gave it a massive clean. So now this engine and transmission both look really good, but we're about to make it look a whole lot better. We're going to be using this VHT engine enamel, and this is just like an aluminium kind of color, and it should really brighten up the engine. So let's give it a go. So here you can see me putting back on the engine harness, and this engine harness is actually off the manual trans and motor kind of package. So we're really trying to make this manual swap as OEM as possible. So in doing this, we don't have just a bunch of spare plugs kind of floating around in the engine bay from the automatic harness. And just like that, with a couple hours worth of work, the engine is back to looking really nice again. Obviously we haven't painted the valve cover here, which would make a massive difference to how this engine looks, but we're going to be doing that at a later date, so don't flame me in the comments. And just like that, we can go ahead and dunk the engine back into the engine bay and get it mounted on the engine mounts. So now we embark on the next step in the process, which is completely stripping down the interior enough so that we can get the OEM manual parts into this car. See what I'm talking about later, but basically we're just going to strip it all the way down and so that we can get this carpet and dash out essentially. As you can see, we got the dash torn out of here, and it is getting really easy. That was the second dash I've taken out of an EG, and obviously it's a lot quicker when you do it the second time. Now the job at hand is we've got to get out all the pedals and all the stuff underneath the dash so that we can get our manual stuff in. And then we also got to get rid of this old manual shifter here too. Right, so as you just saw, we just got the automatic pedal box out, and now we're going to be working at trying to take out the carpet. As you can see, she's got a lot of stains and she's just a little bit worse for wear, and the carpet that we pulled out of our other red EG was really clean, so we're going to be swapping that over while we're at it too. See, we got the carpet out here, which is pretty cool. There's just a couple bolts now holding this thing on, and then we can take this automatic shifter fully out of here. That's what we're left with then in the interior, and this is our automatic to manual kind of shifter plate that we drilled the spot welds out of the other car. And this comes right in here from the end and under. So as you can see here, I need to make these holes. I need to drill out these two so I can get these nuts through. So let's do that first. Boom! The holes are now drilled out. Should be enough space for these little kind of nut thingies to come up through. So yeah, let's now get this in place underneath the car, and then we should be able to weld her in. All right, so I quickly just had to chop out the lip to the auto thing because that was kind of getting in the way, so now we can mock our manual plate up. Got the manual plate in here and we're ready to weld it in. So basically what we're going to be doing is just going to be plug welding in the holes that are already in the chassis. So here, we'll even weld around this nut a bit, and then this plate should be in there. Really exciting. So for this job we used our gasless MIG welder, and we basically plug welded the adapter plate in. Once I'd finished with the welding, I then went ahead and sealed it off with some seam sealer, and then I gave it a quick lick of red paint. This is how the manual shifter plate came out, and I'm so bloody happy with how it went. We plug welded in all the holes, and then we seam sealed up everything, all the seams, and then we've given it a little coat of paint, and we also sealed it from underneath and painted it from underneath too. So yeah, super happy with how it went, and I feel like this is the proper way to do it if you want to manual swap your car. Next step to manual swapping this chassis is we've got to get this clutch, slave cylinder and master cylinder mounted up. So I think this one goes in here. Can you see this black rubber grommet thingy? We've got to pop that out, as well as these two here and here, and then we should be able to just push that in. It's pretty cool. All the chassis are exactly the same. It's just the auto ones have the manual stuff kind of blocked off on the firewall, just like that. There's kind of a better shot of it. As you can see, there's this middle plug and then the two outside plugs. We just got to pop that out, and then we should be able to mount this up. The clutch slave cylinder is now in, and then as you can see, that's where the master cylinder bolts up. But now we also got to take out this automatic throttle cable because it's a little bit different to the manual one, I'm pretty sure. So let's get that swapped over too. By side of the two throttle cables, so the automatic one is here on the left, and this is the manual one on the right. So as you can see, they're a little bit different with the way they mount to the actual pedal itself. So let's get that swapped over. Would you look at that? Our automatic chassis now has a manual shifter. That's so sick. So after we got that shifter sorted, I then worked at getting all the manual pedals installed, and as you can see, it is a massive struggle underneath the dash here, kind of. But obviously it would be a lot harder if you tried doing this with the dash still in, so that's the main reason why we took that out. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the manual pedals now fully installed, and we also have done the wiring for the automatic shifter. So basically all you need to do is connect up this heavy gauge starter wire, which basically tricks the car into thinking it's in a park, so that we can start it. So yeah, heaps of progress. Now we can work at getting the carpet and stuff back in. So we finally got the stock exhaust off. So now with that old exhaust out, we can get the new one in. And as you can see, this one only has one resonator and then an aftermarket muffler. So let's get this hanged up. Alright, so as you can see, the exhaust is fully bolted up, and that's a massive thing now checked off the list. And so just like that, everything that we need to do on the inside of the car is now done. We've got the manual shifter in there and all of the manual pedals, so we can now get back to assembling this. As you see here, we're now putting in the manual kind of trim and shifter surround, which we got from our other car, of course. So as you can see, we have a lot of the interior back together, which is really, really cool. Now I'm gonna work at putting the cluster back in, but first of all we need to swap the speedos over, because as you can see, this is the automatic cluster here with the automatic shifter thing. This is the manual one without it, but this came off a car with 260,000 Ks, and this car has 180,000 Ks, so we can pull the cluster apart, swap these two over, and then we can install it. We got majority of the interior actually back in here, which is really, really awesome, and it's huge progress. Now we're basically moving on to the engine. We just took the engine out and plunked it back in, and now it's just bolted in with the engine mounts. So basically we have to hook everything up: axles, exhaust, radiator, power steering, AC, all that good stuff. A ton of work to get through, and I'm really, really motivated to get it running and driving tonight. But yeah, we're on the home stretch, so let's keep it going. So, and just like that, everything above the engine is now all buttoned up. So basically all we have left to do is just everything underneath. So we have the axles and the exhaust to hook up, and then also the intake pipe. And then we can try and crank this thing over. So unless I forgot everything should be done, and when I turn that key and hook up the battery, this thing should fire up. And boy, I am nervous. I can't really think of any reason why this shouldn't start, but I don't know. have any coolant in at the moment, and we need to bleed the clutch and the power steering, but woohoo! She fired up bloody first bloody pop. I knew it. I also need to stick the intake on, put the battery tie down on, and then the hood back on too, but man, this exhaust sounds so good. So we just got the clutch bled and we also got the intake on, and we're basically all topped up on the fluids, so we're ready to take this thing for a test drive. Alright, so we're just about to go for a drive. Let's get it started. See, the trans and clutch works all good, which is a bit of a relief because I had to swap that clutch and stuff over, and I'm so happy with how this thing sounds. So yeah, I'm so excited to take it for a rip. Just going to top up the coolant and then see if I have a shift knob for it, because we don't currently have one.
We just inserted the new shift knob Sparco into the Honda EG.
So here we are, first drive in the old EG hatch manual. Take it easy. Sounds a bit tinny, eh? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Seems to be running real good though. Alright, we'll give one route down here. I think the back brakes are dragging a bit, eh? Can you hear it? Yo, this is pretty quick, eh?
Yeah.
This is fun. No, it drives real good. Here's the successful little first drive. Sounds so good. And there's not too much smoke or anything coming out the exhaust, but yeah, so happy with it. Drives real nice. Little clip of the exhaust for you. The car was actually running real good. We drove it down the road a little bit and we were just taking some video of it underneath the gas station, and then I turned it off, then it wouldn't start again. I think because it was like misfiring a little bit, maybe I think the ignition coil has gone bad again, which is what happened on our trip down to Nelson the other day. So yeah, we got it hooked up to the EF. I'm going to tow it literally just up the road. Bit of a bummer, but yeah, hopefully we can get it fixed in the next video. But yeah, that is where I'm going to end today's video, guys. So tune in for the next episode where we find out what's wrong with it, and then we also modify it to make it look really cool too. So got heaps of modifications exterior wise to do to this thing, and hopefully turn it into a little beast of a car. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I just wanted to say, if anyone in the comments knows like maybe why a car would continuously burn out an ignition coil, if you could let me know in the comments, because I really want to get to the bottom of this issue. Cheers.